Hang low the mistletoe, said I'm gonna get to know you better. This Christmas is a movie I watched. Roll credits. No, I guess we got to talk about this because I watched it and I put it in my Netflix queue to watch because it's one of the long overdue movie review movies that I need to freaking watch as a black man. And I was told that this is one of our movies. We have to this is it. And I don't know why I didn't watch it when it came out. I think I just didn't. I don't know. 2007. What was I doing in 2007? 2007. Oh, it wasn't really Christmassy. 2007. So that's probably why. Yeah, it wasn't real Christmassy in 2007. You know, but I'm here now, and I watched it, and it exists. It's fine. There are things in it. The best part. Okay, so first off, we spoilers, right? It's fucking this 13-year-old movie. Spoilers. I don't know about this movie. I don't. So it vexes me. Like, let's start at the start. The start of this movie is quite clumsy. There's a lot of stuff that's happening that it doesn't have its legs just yet. Director Preston A. Whitmore, the second, doesn't quite what there's. I don't know what their shooting schedule was like, but all the scenes shot in the beginning part of this movie are kind of clumsy. They are heavy-handed with the exposition more than they need to be. They're trying to walk through more than they need to. I don't know if they wanted this movie to be a movie for made by black people to try to introduce white people to black culture, and so they decided that they were going to do what they could to kind of walk you through this, or if it's just kind of following the same kind of clumsy start that a lot of the middle to lower tier black movies do. I'm not sure, but it does, and it's certainly clumsy in the beginning. We see the setup of the people. The only thing that threw me off was the mother in the movie is called Ma Dear. Whatever. Not Medea, thank God. And trust me, I checked. I went to the IMDb. I was like, sorry, have anything to do with this bullshit before I get too invested in this movie? No? Okay, fine. But the mother of this movie, the Rare Divine, the national treasure, her name is Ma Dear. She wakes up to Delroy Lindo, who wouldn't want to be in her shoes, as he has to, it's kind of secret. And it's like, okay, is this going to pay off somewhere? And it doesn't look like it is going to pay off because he has to leave, and her children, her grown children, arrive. Chris Brown is there, and he obviously knows that Delroy Lindo is there. So I'm like, oh, this must not really be a secret then. But it turns out to be a secret when Idris Elba comes in because he doesn't know. Although the only kids that the kids know, but they act like they don't know in front of their mother because she's trying to keep this secret that no one needs to keep. This movie, listen, I'm gonna boil this thing down to you real quick. Like, this movie boils down to this didn't need to happen like that. Like, it boils down to stupid decisions. It boils down to people going out of their way to fuck up to make a movie happen, like going out of their way to fuck up to make a movie happen. Like Idris Elba, for instance. So Idris Elba, he is a musician in Chicago, I suppose, and he owes some bookies 25 large. And so they find him at the club and he bolts the fuck out and catches a train to LA to be with his parents or be with his mom for Christmas. I mean, if you are on the run from people you know are dangerous, who you probably don't want to be on the run from, why on earth would you go to your parents' house? I mean, why would you bring that danger to them? Why wouldn't you go someplace else? Why wouldn't you have a friend's place you know you could crash at? Like, even if you got to leave the city, right? Why would you go straight to your parents' house? And he says in the movie, I get why you guys found me, and they end up finding him because he left his Palm Pilot in his music case. Well, dummy, why then did you continue your trip west? Why then? Particularly for Christmas. Now, to be fair, it's weird that they didn't quite explain how they knew that's exactly where he would be, as opposed to them going to every other place in his Palm Pilot first, before going all the way across the country. So that was a loose end that didn't really make sense, but it's there to serve as a distraction, as a plot device for this young man's plight, who is coming back home for Christmas to be with his family after 4 years. He hasn't been there in 4 years. He's a musician, and his mama, Loretta Devine, hates music because it chased their father away. Hates music, and then it chased their son away. Her first son. Oh, she really hates music. And Chris Brown, as the youngest son, baby in the movie, he loves music, but he doesn't want to tell anybody. So he goes to open mic night at the El Rey, right? And which is a club in LA. And I gotta tell you, clubs like that size, they ain't doing open mic nights. Like, not even like particularly not on Sundays. Like, if they're open on Sundays, they're still doing club shit. Because they say Sunday. They say Sunday in this particular movie. They actually tell you the days. It's like they wouldn't. They don't do that. Like, you wouldn't do that at a club. But anyway, so yeah, that's that one tension is the music aspect. Loretta Devine hates it because her husband left, and eventually she got a divorce, but she won't marry Delroy Lindo, even though they've been in love together since forever and a day, and are sleeping with each other and whatnots. Praise Jesus. Lots of sleeping around going on in this Praise Jesus movie that ends in church. But let's not get into that debate. So music is a big issue for her, and she doesn't know that her son Chris Brown is a singer yet, or wants to be a singer, because this is an amateur night after all. I have to say this. And Trey, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, because why would you? That's something friends might do. But if you're watching this, I just want you to know that I'm going to be talking about your favorite person in the world, Chris Brown, right now. Chris Brown in this movie is not a good actor. Is not a good actor at all. At all. At all. Like, it's obviously they got him for the movie for his marketability appeal, right? They wanted to load it up with as many black stars as they could at the time. And, they got Regina King. They got that one chick from all those soap operas. They got Delroy Lindo, Loretta Devine, and they got Chris Brown. I was glad Chris Brown's scenes were minimal. I was so glad that his story arc, it ends the movie, but we don't hear from it for a long time. So, and two of his scenes involve him singing, which is his talent. So, okay. Just at that point, I don't know what else he's been in as an actor. I haven't seen anything else he's been in as an actor that I know of. But in 2007, his acting chops ain't there. And he's the weakest part acting-wise of this movie. Now, one of the things that actually does work for this movie is the acting. They have a talented roster. Like I've just mentioned, Idris Elba, Delroy Lindo, Keith Robinson, Columbus Short, who I like, despite, before all his shit got, Columbus. Anyway, Sharon Leal is the other one. A young Lauren London is in this movie as well. Again, just trying to get as many black names as they could. Mekhi Phifer. This is a movie. There is Mekhi Phifer. And homeboy from I think he was on Girlfriends. He was on a whole bunch of other shit. Ricky Harris is in this, and apparently David Banner is one of the tough guys trying to get some money back. So there's shit, and Brandon T. Jackson's in this. So there's people in this movie. The acting when there's not even necessarily when there's something meaty for them to do, because the moments that this movie tries to manipulate you into feeling one way or the other, it falls short. You can see what it wants to do, but it doesn't have the technique to do it. Overall, this movie obviously was trying to be a Black Christmas classic. I don't know. Can't think of any Black Christmas movies that are classics. I know there's a bunch of Black Christmas movies, but I can't think of any that are classics. Like they all kind of they all seem to have happened like around this time, the night like 99 through like the mid 2000s, when there was this kind of Black movie renaissance. I wouldn't say cinema, but like movie, like just cheap little throwaway flick movie renaissance. And none of those movies were that good, because not a whole lot of those kinds of movies were that good. You know what I mean? Like this, there was a higher echelon of movie, and this one made the motions towards that echelon, but it did so, I can't even say half-heartedly, but just kind of, it just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's say that echelon, let's say it was a bar, like a high jump for movies, right? For like really good movies as opposed to the throwaways. This one has the leg and arm strength of a throwaway, but it's over that gas on the javelin. It wants to get over, but it's not there overall. They tie in a whole bunch of these stupid stories that may or may not make some sense or none. Delroy Lindo is apparently a deacon in the church, and he gets Idris Elba off on the 25 grand thing by chasing the bad guys into the train station, or following them into the train station after they followed Delroy Lindo, or Idris Elba, after he stole the tickets back, after they've been following and staying with their family in their house for the night. That didn't make any sense. That was another thing. There was a bunch of that doesn't make any sense moments, and this was one of them. So they find him at the house as he's outside smoking a cigarette, and they confront him and they start beating him up a little bit. And they were going to continue the job, but the police were there. But they stick around because the police aren't there for them. We'll get to that a little bit later. They stick around while Idris Elba talks to other family members, deals with other drama, gets his mom upset. They stick around. And at a certain point, Delroy Lindo comes in and sees them kind of talking to him, and Chris Brown sees it, but he doesn't do anything. Not going to make the joke. And Delroy Lindo walks in, even though I want to. Delroy Lindo walks in, and he says, "Hey, what's up?" And then he's like, "All right, maybe we all better turn in." And like Idris Elba says something to him that's kind of wonky. That, one of those trigger things. It's like, "Hey, Byron," and your name's not Byron, so you got to get he's something wrong. He didn't say the keyword, or he said something that he would never say, right? So Idris Elba apparently hates Delroy Lindo because he feels he's taking the place of his daddy, who's never coming back. But he says something like, you go up with my mom and take care. Instead of like getting the people he's never met out his fucking house or his woman's house, he lets them sleep over in a separate room. And this family's got a huge house. Apparently, the dry cleaning business of this one particular Black family in LA is amazing, because they've got Home Alone type house. They got the big Home Alone type house. That didn't make any sense. Kick them the fuck. No. I've been around and had family members who love the friends and, who come over and et cetera, et cetera. And a whole, they gotta know you to let you sleep there. You know what I'm saying? Like that That don't happen like that. Or, you got to be the roommate of my son or daughter who's still in college right now. The type stuff. And ain't no, oh, these are some old friends. Those old friends can take their old ass out your house and go sleep somewhere else at a motel room or something or somewhere. You know what I mean? Like they ain't just gonna, especially after you get a trigger warning from, no, come on. No. That ain't how that happens. That ain't how that happens. So that was another what the fuck moment, which could have ended Idris Elba's whole angle right there because they're gone now and he can take off whenever he wants to or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's dumb. Like that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What else doesn't make any sense? Columbus Short. Columbus Short comes back to the family. They didn't know he was coming back. Or maybe they did. I can't remember. It was that insignificant. He's coming back from the military. Surprise his mama. He's going to surprise her with a new wife, and she's going to surprise him with a new baby. He didn't tell the family about the wife because A, it happened in military, and 2, because she's
a white woman.
In 2007. Lord have mercy. Now listen, Columbus. I've kind of been in your shoes. But you married the chick. Just tell her. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, why is this a thing? Like, why are you having... And they show scenes of this girl that you're supposed to meet. She's stranded at the she's waiting at the hotel for him. And he's still there with his family, not telling anything. Like, she needs to be at the house meeting her brand new family that you married her into. So they end up going to a club because he ends up trying to sneak out to meet her at said club at El Rey. And so his brothers and sisters, they all tag along because they see him sneaking out. And rather than just say, oh, I'm going to go get some cigarettes or food or, fucking gas up the car, whatever the fuck, just anything else. It's anything else. He brings him along to the place he doesn't want to go to. And so she's getting hit on by these 2 other black dudes in the club. She's white, red hair, blue eyes, striking blue eyes. Although, for some reason in this movie, they don't strike as hard as they should, considering the color of the eyes. But she's getting hit on by other 2 black guys. Now, I know what you're saying. Surreal. Is she the kind of chick that gets hit on by black guys like that? Not really. Like, she's not unattractive. She's a very attractive woman, but she does not have what we in the business used to call a badunkadunk. She's not stacked. She ain't, 36, 24, 36 ain't her winning hand. She's not a brick house. She's not, stacked in all the right places. She's not, stacked like a layer of brick. She is not, fucking boom, 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 boom. She doesn't have the curvature that a fine, pristine car like a black man likes to drive most times. She's fine. She's whatever. But she gets hit on by these 2 black dudes in the club, and Columbus Short sees it, but, talks to her. They go away or whatever. Then they end up talking a little bit more, and then they see them talking, right, and her leaving, and then they for some reason. What is this trope in movies? I don't understand this trope in movies, and maybe there have been in the history of mandom men like this, but in 2007, I don't think that was really happening like that. Where after the girl you already talked to in the club, her dude shows up, you then, after she leaves, go antagonize the dude. If anything, these 2 guys would have been following her to try to hit on her or whatever they were going to try to do, depending on how nefarious you want to make these 2 insignificant throwaway characters. But for some reason, they go over to the guy and talk to him in a crowded club. No. If you talk to a chick in a club and her dude shows up in a club, or some guy pretending to be your dude or whatever in the club, you take your L and you go talk to somebody else in the fucking club. That's it. Or drink your drink, or enjoy the rest of the fucking party. That's what you do. That's what you do. Just another stupid moment in this movie that made no fucking sense. So they go and chat him up. Well, he's military. He's got his service revolver on him for some reason in a prestigious black family in LA. And he then, Batman's the fuck out of him, service revolver to the neck, says, say something now, motherfucker, or whatever the fuck he says in the PG-13 movie. Why? Just why? Just fucking why? And he's alone because the rest of his family is out dancing on the dance floor. Why? In the military, you're supposed to teach you discipline. He's all suited and booted up, and yes sir, no sir. Get the fuck up and go on the dance floor and leave them get them the fuck out of your face. Or if you're trying to save that space for your family or whatever, right? Just fucking ignore them. Or, like, you don't have to fight. You don't have to, if you decide to fight, if it comes to the point where you think you have to fight, sometimes that may happen, right? Maybe a situation, dudes are on you, you're like, fuck, I'm gonna have to fight this motherfucker, which means I'm gonna have to get the first, which means 2-on-1, I'm gonna have to get this first hit. Keep your revolver on you, dog. You're military. You took them down with relative ease. Keep your shit in your fucking pocket, motherfucker. Like, what are you doing? Why would you pull the gun out if that's you won? Why'd you pull the gun out of the situation? You won. Got all that, pop, 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 pop. Now get out. Get away from me. Get out of here. That's it. That's how that ends. That's it. If it ends that way, that's how it ends. Stupid shit that makes no sense. Speaking of stupid shit that makes no sense, goddamn Regina King's body in this whole... Oh my God. I have always, since the days of the 3-foot bang, in an apartment complex number 227 in Washington, D.C., back in the 80s, been a fan of Regina King. Through to Stella getting grooves back, thin lines between love and hate. Whatever that stupid Will Smith movie was. To Watchmen. Been a fan. To that fucking car commercial she's in right now. I ain't buying that car, but I'm watching that commercial. Because Regina King is in it. God, dog. Can I tell you, listen, maybe this is genius on the part of director Preston A. Whitmore II. Maybe he understood that there were going to be parts in this movie that guys who went to this movie because their girls wanted to see it would get bored at, or their mamas or whoever would get bored at. Maybe he knew. And maybe, just maybe, to the Boondocks, and maybe, just maybe, the scenes, multiple, with Miss Regina King wearing a little more than a Coke and a smile, minus the Coke, was service for some people. No, it really did its job because, damn, dog. Whoo. Lord have mercy. Oh, my God. Whew. But anyway, Regina King is married to some uptight dude who early on in his scenes seems to be almost abusing her, the way he's talking to her and the way he's doing shit, like snapping his fingers and looking over his shoulder and having her come do shit, for him. Now, mind you, as heavy-handed as that normally would have been in any other circumstances, I've had a conversation very recently with a woman who is into that, who because there are women. Trust me, Tumblr still exists. If you can find your way into the porn section of Tumblr, into the fetish kink section of Tumblr, which is hard to do nowadays, but if you can find a link in, you're gonna see that shit all over the place. There's this sort of housewife fetish thing. Not the dudes that are into it. I'm talking about women that are into this. Like the whole thing, the whole stay-at-home wife thing, shopping list, baking shit, all that thing, that modern version of that thing to servicing her man, and Regina King tried to service her man multiple times in this movie. um, so, part of me was like, she into this? I know this movie's 13 years ago. We don't have movies about women that are into that shit now, mainstream. So damn sure, it's certainly not black. Damn sure not going to get that in 2007. But I was like, is that she into this? But no, she wasn't. Or she went along with it. Even though she wasn't particularly into it. He was kind of demanding, kind of an ass. Not kind of. He was an ass and demanding. So I was like, is he beating her? Like, they kind of try to make it seem like he's beating her, but no, he's not beating her. He's just cheating on her with a lighter skinned chick in New York City. And so he flies from LA, because this is an LA Christmas movie. Flies from LA, so from wherever they're from, he then flies from LA to New York City to see this chick on fucking Christmas Eve. And then flies back. First off, okay, we established in this movie that they're rich, that they've got money. The whole family, but particularly Regina King's husband, has money. Drive up in an Escalade and everything. Money can't always necessarily buy you a flight to New York and back from LA on fucking Christmas. On Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. Because he flies to New York on Christmas Eve and back Christmas Day for some pussy? Dog. Come on. And you're sleeping in your in-laws' house. Listen. I've known enough people and watched enough movies and listened to enough songs and all this other shit. I've known enough people to know that ain't how Christmas works. If you're the side piece, you don't get Christmas dick. You don't. You get your Christmas dick on the 23rd before he goes back to his family and leaves for the holiday. And you don't get it again until after the New Year, probably. The fuck is this? Again, stupid shit that doesn't make any sense. Also, really, he's getting tickets that easy on fucking Christmas? No, he's not. Also, Regina King knows that he's cheating on her. Her sister, who she doesn't like, the one who's been on all the soap operas, she tells her, she's like, I know. And then she eventually gets mad at her sister. Her and her sister have a fight in the rain for some reason. Again, service. This is again service. We're getting service here. Just them wrestling around. They kind of pinpoint when they know the dudes will be falling asleep, and they put shit like that in there. And then Lauren London, instead of being in the fight, which she could have been, she breaks it up, which is still all right. But yeah. So Regina King gets mad. She gets in her SUV after she dropped her husband off at the airport, who doesn't say "I love you" on the way out, and goes to the LA River and proceeds to let it drive itself into the LA River on a rainy night. And it's raining when she does this. In 2007. I have a question, Miss King. I love everything you've done and been a part of. I mentioned Boondocks earlier. Big fan, 227, all the way, Team Brenda, etc., etc. How you gonna get home? Uber doesn't exist yet. How you gonna get home? Cabs don't run like that in LA, especially at night. How you gonna get home? You got a bus pass? Because they don't even really run like that at night. How you gonna get home? You got a helicopter or some shit? How you gonna get home? I know this was supposed to be this, and this was supposed to be the big moment to wake up all the women. I'm sure they expected a huge, raucous, high-pitched applause, and yeah, girl, you get that. That's supposed to be the Angela Bassett throwing the cigarette behind the back as she burns Michael Beach's fucking shit up in the goddamn car. That was supposed to be that moment. That was supposed to be that moment. But I sat here like, how the fuck she gonna get home though? I love you, Regina, but that was dumb. That was stupid. It was another what the fuck. This is goddamn stupid moment in this movie. Her sister. She went to Harvard apparently. Regina King's husband went to Princeton. They talk about this because they grill Lauren London's boyfriend who goes to an HBCU and he sits there and explains HBCUs. So her sister, she's a model somewhere, and she goes off. She drives up in a Mercedes Benz, whatever the fuck, and she's looking for the right one. But who can? She's not willing to settle for any old person. And her mom basically catches her unpacking her little vibrator and asks her if she needs batteries. And mom, okay, well, first off, that shit was loud, sweetheart. How did you? I'm sure she expected to be able to use it in her old room because she probably used one in her old room when she was still there and thought nobody could hear it. But that shit was loud. That shit was loud. And I know in real life, they can be, even the small ones, can be loud. Like, come on. You know how many pillows she'd have to, there's a whole setup of arithmetic that's algebra involved. Don't ask me. But go to Pornhub. They can help you with that. Go to black.com. They can help you with that. But yeah, so she's one of the sisters that tags along to the club, and that's where she sees Mekhi Phifer. She's all in love with Mekhi Phifer. Now, Mekhi Phifer, at this point in his career, this is lie to me, Mekhi Phifer. This ain't even lose yourself, Mekhi. This is lie to me, Mekhi. This is where he started to put on his man weight. You know what I mean? Like, he's got muscle, but he also likes to eat good. And surreal. How could you listen? I'm talking about the way he looks because he also breathes different. This is that point where Mekhi Phifer started to breathe different when he talked. I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed it. This is that point where he started to breathe a little different when he talked. I heard it watching Scrubs, or not Scrubs, Psych. Give me for that. Heard similar song, but I saw it watching Scrubs. This is that Mekhi Phifer. But anyway, he wins her over. They talk at the club. She sees him from across the distance. Again, shit that doesn't happen. Meeting somebody at a club like this. That's not, get the fuck out of here. First off, they have conversations in this club. I've been to clubs. You can't have conversations, which is why I fucking hate clubs. Thank God for the virus that we don't have to deal with that shit ever again. Ever. But she sees Mekhi Phifer. She falls in love with Mekhi Phifer. She ends up going home with Mekhi Phifer because everybody else left after the gun incident came out. She didn't see it. She was on the dance floor with Mekhi Phifer. She comes home early in the morning, trying to sneak in, but her mama catches her. Mama sees and knows everything, especially having to do with her fast ass, apparently. And she giggles and lets her go upstairs, introduce everybody, telling everybody that breakfast is ready. Mekhi Phifer comes in, plays Santa for her little niece and nephew, Regina King's kids, and brings back her watch, and they're in love with each other. He's a fireman, he says, etc., and they end their little thing. They have sex at least one more time somewhere. He sleeps over somehow. Again, I get progressive and modern black families. But even, again, this is a motherfucker they've never met, and he's able to sleep at the house. How? In her bed? What? Nah, dog. But, apparently he is, and they're about to say goodbye, and, because she's going back to New York, but she's going to, get him a ticket to come back to New York. At least visit her. This scene was edited because Nobody let poor Sharon Leal know that the top that she was wearing for this particular scene was going to keep them from that PG-13 rating. It doesn't get cold often here in Southern California, but it doesn't have to when you're a woman and you're wearing something particularly thin. And, you may or may not be excited. Who knows? Maybe that stage kiss was better than you thought. Who knows? Maybe it really was actually cold that day. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's just the material rubbing against your nips. But for whatever reason, Miss Sharon Leal's headlights were live and in living color, if you will. So they had to do some cheap editing stuff. So like they did a far away shot where she was super far away. Way further away than she needed to be. But you could still see the headlights. Then they cut back in and it's everything from the headlights up. So you don't see it. It's not like a, normal framing shot. Really? Y'all couldn't just get her a t-shirt? Y'all just couldn't get her a t-shirt or like a black shirt or something like that. Y'all had to get the lavender thin little thing or whatever. And I'm not complaining. Mazel tov, baby. I think I'm a fan of Sharon Leal now. Soap opera actress chick. Actually, I think she was on Las Vegas. She was on Las Vegas once. She came to see Mike Cannon, played by James LeJour, to try to get his sperm to try to have a baby, but he thought she meant ha-ha, but no, she just wanted the sperm so that her and her lesbian lover could have a baby together. And he said no. That's where I remember her from. Anyway, that was that little story that didn't make much sense. Then we get, who else is in the stupid movie? Oh, Lauren London and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend comes over. They're both in college, and they get caught because this is another stupid thing that happened that didn't need to happen. So they start making out in the kitchen, and Lauren London's like, "I'm gonna get me some in the laundry room." So they go to the laundry room, close the door behind them, and family members start coming back into the kitchen and piling up. So all they have to do, they're not even really undressed. They're not undressed at all, really, like at all. All they have to do is just stand there and wait for everybody to leave. That's all they have to do. They keep cutting back, and homeboy keeps messing with some shit in the closet to make noise while the other conversation in the kitchen is happening. They don't need to do this. Normally, with this trope, the way this happens is there's something to cause somebody in said closet to make a noise, right? They're allergic to cleaning solution that's in there. There's a spider even is the super cheapest. There's they're in a precarious position and can only hold it for so long. There's usually something. Those are the big three that happen that makes a character give up the ghost that they're in the room. They didn't give shit up. Like, they just... Let's talk about the music. There's some covers of some songs on here. Chris Brown sings two of them, This Christmas and Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding. This Christmas is the best of the two. Try a Little Tenderness does not work with Chris Brown's voice at this time. It just doesn't. However they have him singing this particular version in 2007 is too immature. That's too immature and big a song for the level of his voice that they want him to. He's got a higher pitched voice at least in 2007 in this particular movie for that particular song, and it doesn't work. It sounds like a high schooler trying to sing it, but it doesn't have any of the emotion. Emotion doesn't have any of the actual sex to it. Doesn't have any of the love, the lust, the desire, the the togetherness, the intimacy, the passion. It doesn't have any of that. It's kind of dry, really. This particular version of this song. They needed to pick a different song for him to do that with. Also, it's that particular song is very, very slow for a long time, and they wanted it to build to this big party scene. They needed something else. They needed something that built faster. Because that's another thing. This movie is 2 hours basically on the dot. It felt longer than it needed to be. It didn't need to be 2 hours. It did not need to be 2 hours. Especially and particularly because it ends with a Soul Train after they've already had they have a Soul Train line in this movie. It then ends with all the actors in a Soul Train line. Not the characters, but the actors in the Soul Train line. And they go through one by one. Then they keep going for 5 or 10 more minutes. If that's how you wanted to end it, okay. You thought you had to fill time, which you didn't. You already had at least an hour and a half. But that's how you wanted to end it, fine. Throw it in the Bollywood pile. You don't have to keep going after we've gone through all the actors. That's the curtain call. The curtain call is everybody coming through the Soul Train line and dancing their way through the Soul Train line. The actors. We didn't need to see it all continue and continue and continue and continue. I was already through with these characters long before we got to the Soul Train line. We didn't need more. And as much as I like the actors, I didn't need to see that long-ass extended Soul Train line with them having a good time. I get it. They wanted the good feelings of having family there. That's why they threw it in the actual movie with just the family members as characters in that movie. They didn't need the actors at the end. That was superlative. It was unnecessary. So overall, the best parts of this movie, like I mentioned, are the actual acting chops of some of the people. Regina King, in particular, does pretty well. Sharon Leal does pretty well. Lauren London does all right. She ain't offensive. She ain't in that movie. Her character doesn't have a whole lot to do or work with, so she doesn't have, she carries that load. Like I mentioned, Chris Brown doesn't carry his part. He's not particularly good an actor, at least in 2007. I don't know what else he may or not have been in. Everybody else does fine, I guess. Of course, Delroy Lindo and Loretta Devine, again, national treasures. They're doing their thing. They're being Delroy Lindo's gangsta ass and Loretta Devine's sweet mama ass. You know what I mean? So they're doing their part. Overall, the ratings for this is basically split right down the middle. Like, it seems to be right on that middling level. And that's about where mine's going to be. Out of $15, out of $15, yeah, it's actually going to be a little less than middling. Out of $15, it's going to be $5.50 out of $15. And I'm giving them the extra 50 cents for the talent of the actors. The story doesn't work that well. I wanted a good Black Christmas movie. We don't have it yet with this one, at least not in my opinion. Maybe there'll be others. This one ain't it. I could have, now that I've seen it, I ain't got to see it ever again. Don't have to. This Christmas is not a particularly good Christmas movie. But party people, I'm glad you're here with me. Grab some nog or whatever you're drinking with me. Tell me what you think. Yeah, in the comment section. Like and share in particular. We got to 1,000 subs as I'm filming this. Hey, baby! Way to come through in the pinch. Some of my good friends from back in the day. Listen, now I got to get some content out to you guys. I've been doing some different things behind the scenes, looking at the business angles and stuff like that. I'm feeling a little motivated today. That's why I'm here with you right now. Tell me what you think down there in the comment section. Share. Tell somebody that you like this content. I've got people who like my content. I've got people who like my podcast. I don't have people who actually share the fact that they like my content and the podcast. They want to keep it to themselves. Listen, I'm a selfish fuck, but come on. It's the holiday season. Give a little love to somebody. Give a little video to somebody that they can come and watch and see and join the party. Come on, people. It's the holiday season. The season of perpetual hope. And I am hoping that you will not only like this stuff, but that you will share it amongst the world so that I can get, big ass black cleaner family rich one day and, have 8 rooms that random people could conceivably come in and sleep in, but they won't because I'm not as stupid as the people in this movie were with their social. That's dumb. It's just dumb. Anyway, tell me what you think down there. And as always, ho, ho, ho. This Christmas,
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn your back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.